Hi everyone, welcome to tonight's webinar. I'm here with one of our fabulous Diamond leaders, Leia. Joining us, Leia.
Hi, how you going?
Yeah, so tonight's webinar is all about how to successfully invite people. So that includes sampling, inviting people to workshops, inviting people to learn more about doTERRA, and really bringing them in. So I'm going to share the screen and jump onto our PowerPoint. Leah, that's all good. You can see that, yeah?
Yep, perfect.
Cool. So as I mentioned, it's all about successfully sharing, workshop attendance, sampling effectively, scripts that can help you to do this really well if you're confused about what to say and if you have a tendency to verbal diarrhea people, which can definitely backfire, and also confidence with sharing as well. So let's jump in and talk about the icky stuff first. So what is holding you back from sharing, if anything? And for some of us, like even for me, you can get to a certain level in your business and still find that little things come up from time to time. Maybe are you scared of selling? Do you fear rejection, which is quite a big one for people? And I definitely struggle with that from time to time. Are you afraid of people's judgment and what people are going to say about, network marketing, whether they're going to think you're involved with a potentially filthy pyramid scheme? doTERRA is obviously not a pyramid scheme. Those are illegal and it doesn't work like that. But you could be afraid of judgment around that. Or just maybe you are worried about seeming like a pushy salesperson or something like that. So one thing that I really do recommend that's really helpful for me is tapping or emotional freedom technique. Brad Yates does have hundreds of free videos on his YouTube channel. And one that I find particularly helpful for moving through this block is his video called Valuing What You Have to Offer, Fear Others Won't. So if you literally just jump on YouTube and type in that title and Brad Yates' name, you can jump on and do his, I think it's 5 to 10 minute video. You just follow along, tap where he taps and repeat what he says. So our e-course also includes tapping rounds such as worrying about what others think, fear of being pushy, fear of talking to people and convincing them, and even a bonus round on attracting classes and opportunities. So that is coming up again soon. So just, keep in the loop with that. And tapping is extremely effective. So it's scientifically proven. It's got clinical studies from all around the world showing that tapping massively reduces cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, and helps shift limiting beliefs and negative thinking that can be holding you back. Works on the energy system and is similar to acupuncture, but instead of needles, we're tapping on acupressure points and saying things to shift things. So anyway, what happens when you don't share the essential oils and doTERRA and the community and opportunity with people? And I do use this regularly, but if you take a moment to think about how much of a massive bummer it would be if the person that shared with you didn't do that for fear or of rejection, or they were afraid what you'd think about network marketing, or they didn't want to be pushy, or they didn't think you would be interested, because of your background or career or whatever else is going in your life. So when you don't share, you're taking away people's opportunities to have these oils, products, opportunity, and community, most importantly, in their life. And to me, that's seriously uncool. So share with everyone and allow them the opportunity to say yes or no. And guess what? You don't actually die when people say no. And I have found, because I've been doing this for over 3.5 years now, that a lot of the people that said no to me originally, and Leah, you might have found this too, have actually ended up saying yes. And it's taken time to build that relationship and also to create powerful experiences with the essential oils.
Yeah.
And many people, I'm calling someone on the weekend that's followed me for 4 years, and just now she's taking the plunge with oil. Sorry, what were you saying, Leah?
Sorry, yeah, that's happened to me a lot as well. And I think it's that continuing to show up and continuing to use the oils consistently ourselves, and people see that it's not a fad or a, something like that. It's something that's actually implemented into our healthcare regime and something we're going to continue to do. So they do count.
Yeah, and it takes time to build trust in a relationship. I have heard statistics that 85% of sales come after the 5th point of contact, and that doesn't have to necessarily be like, hey, you're ready to buy a home essentials kit yet. It's just building that relationship and staying in touch and forefront of their minds. So it's something to think about. But yeah, think about what your life would be like if the person that shared with you didn't do that, and don't be that person for other people. So when you're thinking about prospects, you can think about who you already know. And I do get slightly irritated when people tell me they have no friends and no one to invite to anything, because I've literally never met anyone with 0 Facebook friends or 0 emails on their email list if they don't have Facebook, for example, or 0 contacts in their phone. Literally never happened ever. So that is definitely an excuse. And you can go to www.sharesuccess.com/expand your contacts and do the exercise for a memory jogger on who you really do know. It's really, really helpful. So definitely jump on there if you feel like you've tapped out of your warm market, or you don't know anybody, or you have no one to invite to a workshop. Guarantee that is BS. And if you do that exercise, it'll really help. You can also go to sharesuccess.com and download the launch guide for more detailed scripts and sharing ideas and figuring out who you actually do already know. Also, where to find new people. So there's loads and loads of ways. Now, I am an introvert, so I get that this can be uncomfortable. I also am on the spectrum, and I get highly anxious in social situations. But guess what? I chose to build a doTERRA business, and the value and importance of that for me, and of the impact that it has on lives, outstripped my need to stay inside my house at all times and never speak to any of the humans. So guess what? You're going to have to get over it and maybe use your essential oils to support you if this is uncomfortable for you. And it does get easier. So I use balance on the soles of my feet, down my spine, on my wrists, peace on my heart chakra. Now that we have papaya butt, a drop of that under the tongue totally settles my nervous system. And I have gone to many, many networking events, even though thinking about it, it's like not something that I'm jumping up and down with excitement at the prospect of doing. I have done it, and it has helped me enroll many, many people, and many people that have ended up being builders as well. So meetup.com is a fantastic place for finding networking events and different meetups, obviously. So look for things that interest you, and small business meetups are fantastic as well, because you actually learn more about running a small business at those. Like, different people will be presenting, and you'll actually pick up a lot of fantastic tips, but you'll also meet other small business owners that you can potentially collaborate with, like, you know, people that run chiropractic centers and I don't know, Whole Food stores and wellness centers and spas, and even like I met an accountant at a networking event, and he was an older male accountant, but his wife was into Reiki and crystals and all sorts of things, and I ended up enrolling her down the track as I built that relationship. And she's a builder in my business as well. So you never know what's going to happen from creating these connections. Other things, mums groups, schoolyard, kindy, online Facebook groups where you develop significant relationships with people. If you have a Facebook page, obviously Instagram, dance class, Pilates, yoga, pottery, meditation, whatever hobby takes your fancy. Go to these things, but also don't just go there and spam every single person with your business card and try and enroll everybody on the spot. What I do when I go into a networking event is I actually like center myself and feel, who am I super attracted to in this room, in terms of like I'm feeling their vibe, feels like good energy, and I feel like I could connect with them as a friend without that desperate need to enroll them immediately. And I try to have really powerful, in-depth conversations with just a couple of people and connect with them. And I actually shut my mouth about doTERRA instead of verbal diarrheaing them, and ask them questions about them. So, you know, what their interests are, what their business ideas are, what their about their family, just about them, and really developing that connection. And then I get their details, add them on social media, ask them if they want to catch up for coffee, and keep that relationship going. Because what will happen is they'll eventually bring something up like, I'm not sleeping, or my kid's not focusing in school, or I'm having gut health issues, or, you know, I've got pain in my shoulder, whatever. And then you can say something really simple and clear, like, would it be okay with you if I shared something with you that's really helped me with that? That's my script. And then always take their details and follow up. Don't just give them a business card. So in line at the grocery store, bank teller, I've enrolled people with like an oil sharing kit in Uber. I just catch Ubers randomly, even if I don't need to, because parking in the city is a nightmare. So if I'm going somewhere, I'll catch an Uber for a chance to network, because Uber drivers are obviously entrepreneurs and, you know, working for themselves and trying to find a way to make a bit of extra money. So perfect target market for doTERRA. And as we mentioned in last week's webinar, obviously always be prepared with samples and business cards and information, but take their details as well. Even when I haven't been prepared, like in an Uber and I don't have a sample, I just take their details and chat to them about it, and then I email them more information, and I've got enrollments that way. But actually, like, be prepared. Don't be a knobhead like me. Have your samples, and I just carry 5 ml wild oranges if I can't be bothered doing up sample vials. 5 ml wild oranges, or you can buy a 6-pack of intro kits on your LRP, which comes to 111 PV. Like, if you've been doing doTERRA while you've got everything you need, just buy 6 intro kits, and then you can either break them up, so you've got your 5 ml lavender, lemon, peppermint, or you can give them out as the pack. But yeah, volunteer at the school, community groups, volunteer in things you're passionate about, like might be animals or whatever it is, and get involved with things and create genuine relationships. Leah, do you have any other tips you want to add in terms of where to find new people?
Yeah, just do what you love doing. Don't try to be somebody else or try to go to Pilates classes if that's not your jam. You know, do the things that you love to do, because then you're going to be making authentic relationships with like-minded people that you would be drawn to originally.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think just getting out there and doing what you love.
Love that.
And often this can be one of the most difficult parts of our day-to-day activities, the inviting in building a doTERRA business, but it really is obviously one of the most important. So often people come up with these blockages, like feeling worried, or like they're worried about feeling salesy or pushy, or scared of putting themselves out there in those situations like Jessie was just talking about. So these are just some little tips that I use to make myself not feel like I'm being salesy or pushy, and not worried, kind of playing it down a little bit. So firstly, just being authentic in what you are projecting. So know your product, know your why, and know what you're trying to achieve. So you're trying to actually help people, and keep that in the forefront of your mind. Coming from a place of service, I think, is really important. So think less about yourself in these situations. So take yourself out of it and think about the service that you're providing, or the problems that you're solving for other people. So yeah, like where it doesn't feel pushy or salesy if you're actually trying to help somebody, and that's your main objective or goal. Your objective or goal isn't to sell a home essentials kit. It's actually to help that human being and with the problems that they want, that they have, and forming meaningful relationships. Like Jessie was mentioning before, when she went to those networking events, she was actually out there to form relationships with people, not just to try to sell oils. So that's another way that it's going to make you feel better about what you're doing. And I think the more that you have that mentality at the forefront of being a place of service, solving problems for people, the less salesy and pushy you're actually going to feel, and you're going to feel really awesome because you're actually helping people and you're seeing results. So if you just want to click on the next slide there, Jessie, I'll just give you a
appropriate language about
using appropriate language. So just to the next, so this is I have young children, so one of my main target markets is young mums, or mums of young kids. So this could be a very popular thing that might happen to me on a school pickup. So one of my friends might talk about how they couldn't get their kids to sleep last night, and they're just in this terrible sleep routine. And they're bouncing around until 10 o'clock before she finally gets them down, and then they're all tired for school the next morning. And then I might say something like, oh yeah, I've totally been there. You know what really helped me? There's this essential oil blend called Lavender Peace. And I just pop a drop on their pillow before I take them to bed and read the story, and they drift off to sleep really peacefully. Would you be open to trying some? If so, I can make you a sample. So using appropriate language like would you be open to, which is something that I learned from Jessie in her training, is a beautiful way of opening up and giving people permission to say yes or no, and also then taking away that pushy feeling for you because you're helping them. So if that person said, oh yeah, of course I'd love to, then you're going to feel good about yourself. You're not going to feel like you were just doing a sales pitch to try and win someone over. You're going to feel good because you're actually going to help that human. So I think it's really important to just remember that. Take yourself out of it and remember that you're here to try and help people. You're here to serve.
Yeah, for me, that feels so good. It just comes back to like my basic script, which I'll repeat for everyone because I forgot to do the slide unless it comes later, is would it be okay with you if I share something with you that's really helped me with that. And that's like exactly what you've done here, but for a more specific scenario. So I love it. Like, it doesn't feel icky to me at all, at all, at all. So,
and I'd feel so comfortable saying that to somebody, because even if I wasn't doing a doTERRA business, I would probably say the exact same thing, because the oils have helped me and my family with their sleep situations. So I'd probably do the same thing anyway. I'd be like, I've got this oil, I'll bring you some.
Yeah, so, exactly.
So authentic.
These are some specific scripts that you can actually send via text or Facebook message to people to invite them to a class. So the first one is for anyone that doesn't have like a doTERRA Wellness Advocate account. And it's just, hi Jane, you know, you could say how are the kids or connect on whatever is common ground for you. Are you open? And notice that language again that Leah was talking about, appropriate language. It's a psychological thing, because people don't want to come back and say, no, I'm closed. So are you open to natural ways to take care of your health? I'm teaching people how to use essential oils. Are you open to hosting a class for me? And by the way, I learned about tech split scripts from the leadership retreat, the US leadership retreat in California, I think it was 2 years ago. And they did this with literally like hundreds of people, probably I think thousands of people, because it's US leadership, in a room. And people were booking dozens of classes, and they had a competition. The winner, get this, could have any owner that they want fly out and teach a class for them. Like, isn't that the coolest prize ever? So this one chick booked over 100 classes in a 24-hour period, and won Dr. Hill coming to teach class for her, just using this exact scenario. So for someone already in your team, you could say, hi, I know you love the oils. Will you host a class of 4 to 7 people in Feb/March so we can help more people learn about them? Again, you're not verbal diarrheaing them here about LRP and a business and all this different stuff. Keep it super basic. Of course, anyone you invite, you'll get to enroll, and we can start earning your oils for free. Super, super clean and basic. And the bottom one is maybe for like a friend or a family member or colleague that would be interested in potentially supporting your business. So that's why you say, hi, I have a goal to teach 10 doTERRA classes in the next few weeks. Will you help me out and host one? 4 to 7 people is the ideal size. You will receive commission for anyone you invite, and can start earning loads of free oils or cash. So I've put something in there that could be for both people, whether they're just interested in getting their products for free, or whether they potentially are interested in earning commission and earning a bit of extra money. So it opens their mind up to some possibilities. Now, the recommendation, if you are wanting to create a successful doTERRA business and get real momentum going, is a minimum of 2 classes a week, which really isn't that difficult. I used to run one on a Tuesday night, 7:30 p.m. my place, every single week, and then I would book classes from those classes, and I would run at least 2 to 3, many weeks, 4 classes a week doing that. So 1 on a Tuesday night, generally 1 or 2 on a weekend, and maybe 1 on another night when the kids are in bed. Because I was breastfeeding. Ned was 6 months old when I started, and I had a 4-year-old as well. So I would do them at night after they were in bed. And if the baby woke up, I could just breastfeed him, put him in the baby carrier, and keep rolling on. So,
yeah. And I think it's really important to keep that as a benchmark. That's what I was telling to my team the other day, that 2 classes a week can seem a bit overwhelming, or maybe you couldn't make up those classes with asking other people, which is ideal, and getting into their networks. But if you can't, create them yourself. Like if you get to Thursday and you haven't got any classes booked in, or someone's cancelled one on the weekend and now you've only got 1 class for the week, create one yourself. Have a class at your house or do an online class. Like you can actually make that happen if you wanted to.
100% agree. I actually did put the script in the slides. Good on me for remembering my slides. But anyway, this just reiterates that it's really important to ask for their details to send more info, and ask them if it's okay if you can follow up with them in a few days. Ask them if they'd like to come along to a workshop to learn more when you follow up with them in a few days. So ask their details, and I literally send them an email or message saying, hey, that sample I gave you, can be used in these ways. This is what it does. And then I check in with them in a few days and ask them how they're going with that. Now, just remember that the oils do work differently for different people. So 90% of the time, they've had an amazing result. 10% of the time, I might need to try a different sample for them, for their particular, health priority. So I follow up in a few days, see how that's going for them. And once people have had a powerful experience with the oils, they're even more likely to want to attend a workshop. So I ask them if they'd like to come along to a workshop to learn more about these oils. And I often literally say to people, and I can help hook you up with a wholesale account and get them drop shipped to your door at the exact same price I pay, which I just find is like a super awesome line, so they know that I'm like hooking them up and helping them out. Again, really important, don't just leave your business card without taking the info. People just get busy and they'll totally forget to ever get in touch with you. That's what I found anyway.
Yeah, so sampling can be a bit of an art, and I think that you do have to make sure you're doing it in an effective way, because sitting there filling up those little sample bottles is certainly not my favorite thing to do in a day. So I really do make sure if I'm going to send samples to somebody that I have done the work first that's going to make sure or make it more likely that it's going to be a positive outcome. So some of the things that I do is, first of all, I definitely ask the person if they've been working with somebody else prior. And I do that in a few ways, which you'll see in a moment. And I try really hard to build a relationship with them first. So especially if I haven't met them face to face, if it's just been online and they've asked for some samples or asked for some more information and I have offered samples, then I really try to build a relationship with them first by starting a rapport of messages going back and forth, and really getting to know them a bit and getting a bit of a vibe for the person. Because the last thing that you want to happen is for you to send your samples off, and then when you follow up with them, they stop writing back. So I find that building that relationship and making sure that they reply to your messages when you ask a few questions in the beginning is definitely a good thing to do. So if they're not replying to you in the beginning, it's unlikely that they're going to reply to you after they get their samples that you've spent time dripping into those little bottles. So I get a bit of a vibe off them as well. If they seem really lovely and really open, then I send those samples off. If they're, I don't know, I just get a bit of a vibe before I make the decision to send the samples.
And it's obvious they're just fishing for freebies and they do it on the regular, then you don't send them samples.
Yeah, exactly. I make sure I only send a maximum of 3 samples. So I do that by getting to know their top health priorities, and that's a part of establishing and building that relationship with them. And I try to sample from the Home Essentials kit, because I honestly believe that the Home Essentials kit is the most valuable kit, and that's what I want people to get started with, because they're going to see that value. And I also feel that our Home Essentials kit can service pretty much any basic general need from a person. So I try to from the Home Essentials kit so that they then see the value in that kit themselves in the beginning. And of course, following up with them is vital. And so here's just an example of my script. So I say, hi, thanks so much for requesting some samples from me. It's so great that you're prioritizing your health and natural alternatives. I just have to ask you a few questions so that I can best help you. The first 2 questions here are kind of figuring out if they've been working with someone before, because sometimes that question can be a bit weird or ambiguous to people that are brand new and don't understand how our doTERRA culture. So they might say no straight away when really their sister's in doTERRA or something. So I ask a couple of questions to get around that from the get-go. So have you received samples in the past, or is anyone else helping you with essential oil education? Then I say, have you used essential oils before? So they might say no to the first one, but then to the second one, they say, oh yeah, my mum has essential oils. And so then of course you're going to refer them back to get started with their mum. Help them out a little bit before you do that. But I feel like asking a couple of questions there really helps to delve into that further. And then I ask what their top 3 health priorities are. And then this is where I establish the bit of a rapport with them. So I go back and forth and ask a few more questions. And then I tell them about some essential oils that will help. And then I'll nut it down to just the 3 that I'm going to send them. And by that time, I've messaged them back and forth probably about 3 or 4 times. And I know that they're replying, and I know that they're genuine and they're nice people that I want to have in my business.
So Leah, if we just backstep a minute, why are people requesting samples from you? Like, what are you doing to lead up to have people request samples from you in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely. So generally, I might get asked for samples, or I might offer samples to people that I meet, just like that big list of different areas that we can get out and meet new people. So, at Pilates, at school or something, I might offer samples to somebody if they have a health concern or if they're complaining about some kind of ailment. But otherwise, maybe on my social media. So if I put up a post about using some particular oils on my children, then I might say, let me know if you would like some more information or if you would like to try some. And then people might message me online and say that they would love some more information, or they would like to try some oils, or they've got this particular problem, their kids won't sleep or whatever. Sleep's a big one. So then I'll address them in that way and start that process off there.
Awesome.
Oh, so now moving on to workshops and actually getting bums on seats. So these are just some do's and don'ts for holding classes and inviting people along to your classes and actually getting them to show up. So first of all, I'll go through the do's. Personally invite people rather than just messaging them on Facebook, and making it authentic once again. So it's just like when you meet a person in real life and you're offering help, you need to make it authentic and personable to them. So, you know, talk to them about some past experience that you've had with them or other times that you've chatted with them, and tell them that perhaps they would like to come along to this class and learn some more. Invite with meaning. So that's part of that as well. So really making sure that you're meeting a need for somebody. So, hey, Jan, I know how we talked about, you know, your kiddies have had this particular tickly cough that they couldn't get rid of. And I was telling you about this awesome oil that I used to help with that. Would you like to come along to this essential oil class that I'm having on the weekend, where I can chat about that and tell you about a whole lot of others? So like creating a bit of a need for them to want to come along, not just posting a picture of the essential oil class and hoping that they'll show up. So we don't want to just post a Facebook event either, and not do this meaningful invitation, because it's very unlikely that that will show up. So give them a reason. That was like I just mentioned then, you're creating a solution to some kind of issue that they might have. So this is if you've had conversations with them in the past, then you're going to be explaining that you're going to talk about that and much, much more at a class. And I always just tell people that the best way to learn about essential oils is to come to a class, because then they're going to get a full perspective of how it all works, how they can use them, and they're going to get lots of practical skills as well as trialing them themselves at the time. Some other good points are it's really important to remind people 4 to 7 days before the event by sending them a message. And this is where the Facebook event page can come in handy, but it's definitely not the only thing that you want to rely on. So if I create a Facebook event page for a class, then I might post a picture of some yummy food that I'm making for the class, or post some information in there as well. And, you know, let people know that I'm going to some effort. I'm like really excited about them coming. It's not just a willy-nilly thing. I'm planning for this. So it's making sure that their RSVP is valid. They're not just going, oh, yeah, I'll come, because they're seeing the effort that you're putting in. Also, pre-teaching is really important. Sorry?
So I send them a message 4 to 7 days before, and also the day of the event, because people are busy and they forget things and maybe they don't put it in their calendar or whatever. And this is a psychological thing as well. So just so you're aware, don't ever say something like, hey, are you still coming? Because that gives them the opportunity to have an out and say, no, I'm going to watch the cat, or like do whatever. So I always text them personally or Facebook message them personally, generally prefer text, and say, so excited you're coming. I've made some delicious food. That's the one that you'd send on the day. Share photo of food, and I have a little gift for you. Can't wait to see you. You know, a week out, just be like, so excited you're coming. I'm really looking forward to seeing you. I'm going to have some super yummy snacks on the day, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Yeah, see you there, something like that. It's like assuming that they're coming. And also when you send them a photo of food you've made and tell them that you have a gift for them, which might be like a 5 ml wild orange, or, you know, a roller bottle or whatever, it kind of guilts them into showing up, which might sound bad, but it's in their best interest and you're helping them. Whereas if you say, are you still coming? You know, people are busy and things happen, so they'll often try and find a way to get out of it. Not that it's anything to do, it's just that.
Yeah, making them feel wanted and like their attendance is important to you.
Yes.
So also this pre-teaching I find is really important as well, especially if they haven't had an experience with the essential oils before. So if you haven't sampled them before, or you haven't talked to them much about the essential oils, and then you're just inviting them along to take up half of their Saturday to come and sit and learn about this, then it's a really good idea to give them some information before. So if I generally do this within the Facebook event group, I might start posting some information, and especially gathering information from the people that I know are coming, so I can start to post some information that might start meeting their needs or starting that problem solving situation earlier. So it's getting them interested, so they're actually like, oh yeah, I can't wait to learn about that, or that's going to really help me, or that particular oil is going to be really good for me. So it's starting to get the momentum flowing, so they know what they're in for, and they also have a bit more of a reason to want to come, as opposed to just surprising them and they know nothing about what they're there for. Also letting them know what to expect. I think letting them know that it's going to be about 1.5 hours to 2 hours long, so they're not thinking that they're going to be there for the entire day. And I like to give people just a little rundown, like, I'm just going to tell you about essential oils and what they are. I'm going to pass them around. You're going to try them. You're going to taste some yummy food that I've put the essential oils in. You know, just letting them know what to expect. And that's one of the questions that I get asked the most by a host will be, what do I tell people that's going to happen? Because they might be a bit daunted or a bit worried about what's going to happen at the actual class. Shh. Sorry. So, yeah, and going into the don'ts, group messaging is not great for an actual invitation. Either is just a Facebook event, use that as a teaching tool, not as an invitation. And don't just expect that they will show up. So make sure you're doing that reminding, like what Jessie was talking about was perfect. And don't just tell them nothing about the class or the oils prior. So you want to really be getting them invested in coming along. So this is just like another follow-on of how you might invite someone along. And especially if they've had an experience with the essential oils, is a perfect time to invite them along to a class. And that's another reason why making sure that you have a weekly class booked in all the time is really important, because you want to have something to invite these people along to. You don't want to be going, oh, next month I'm going to have an essential oils class, and they'll have forgotten all about it by then. So this is this lady that I met at the school, and she said that, oh, you gave me work so well on the kids. What other oils do you use? And I'll be like, yeah, that's so great. They've helped me on my parenting journey in so many ways. I'm actually having a class this weekend. Are you open to coming along and learning about the other oils that I use? It's a really great way for you to learn more and experience more of these oils firsthand. And of course she's going to say yes, because she's just had an awesome experience. Her kids were like being little pains in the bum before, and now they're going to sleep really quick. She's going to be totally keen on learning more about the oils. So then you would say, great, I will check in with you on the day before the class just to remind you. I know how busy mum life can be. And that's just letting her know that you are going to check in with her. Sorry.
Love it. So another point is to really coach your host. And this is something that's super important to me, especially because I'm overly sensitive. So some of these things may not apply to you, and you might, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to tell you what my things are, because I like classes to run smoothly and be as productive as possible. So I tell the host to please have people, obviously this is a class for someone else. So I've enrolled someone and I'm teaching a class for them. Because if it's at my house, I send this stuff to people. So I ask people to please arrive 15 minutes early as we're starting right on time, or ask your host to tell people that they're inviting. I ask them to please only serve alcohol and food after the presentation. If there will be children, I ask that, you know, hopefully they're in bed if it's an evening class. But I do ask if there will be children there, if they can please have a mum, partner, friend, babysitter, nanny, etc. to mind in a separate room. I don't cope at all if there's like 10 kids sprinting around, screaming and playing. I don't find that any of the mums kind of focus on what you're saying either, or can actually learn. And I just get super overwhelmed and like meltdown. And I don't find, anyone learns anything in situations like that. So I know this is like a family-friendly business, but I generally find it is possible to have, you know, kids either in bed or them in a separate room. So, and also I ask the host, please do not tell people they don't have to buy anything and can just order on your account. And I explain to them that they're actually doing their people a massive disservice, because if they order on their account, they're not going to be able to create loyalty rewards points and take advantage of all the freebies and specials. They're not going to be able to earn commission, even if they just want to sign up their mum or their sister. And it's taking away people's opportunities. They're actually not doing them a favor. They think they are, but I just nip that in the bud before the class starts. Is there anything else that you coach hosts with, Leah?
I think that point at the end is really great, and it's a really good way, especially when you start your class, to to turn that off and just say, by the end of the class, you're all going to have a wholesale account. You're going to be able to get 25% off your oils, and just switch that around to something positive instead of going, when you get to the salesy part, going, oh, you don't have to buy anything if you don't want to. Just change that mindset in your own head before you go as well.
Yeah, love it.
And just finally, some tips. Confidence comes with practice. So the more I talk to people about essential oils that I come across in my day-to-day life, the more confident I am. And I think, yeah, so it is something that comes with practice, but it's also something that comes with your confidence in the oils and in the business itself as well. So living the doTERRA life is really important. I'm always, always, always using the oils on my children out in public. They have their own roller bottles that they take to school. So then, of course, their teachers and their friends' mums are asking me about them. It's really important to continue to show up and use these oils on ourselves and in our environment, because that's showing people that it is a lifestyle, and it is a lifestyle that we live and something that we continue to do. And that goes back to, at the beginning, how Jessie was saying that sometimes people come to you after years and years and decide that they want to get the oils. And I think that that's a big part of that, is living this doTERRA lifestyle. Yep. And don't lose sight of that service mindset. So remembering that you're trying to help people, and that's the forefront of what you're doing. And when you are in that mindset and of that beautiful, generous nature, that's going to make people want to come and get essential oils from you, because they can tell that you literally want to help. You're not trying to get a sale out of them. You're not offering them a product that they don't really want. You're offering a solution to the need that they've told you about.
Yeah, and you're bringing massive into their lives. It's not oils, but it's the community, it's the financial opportunity. Like, I think about what it'd be like for me if the person that shared with me didn't do that. You know, I was on welfare when I started. I was suffering physically immensely with my gut health and my immune system and my anxiety. I was suffering emotionally. You know, I didn't have a community of incredible people uplifting, encouraging, supporting, loving, and cheering me on for exactly who I am. Yeah, and my life has been completely transformed just by someone sharing a sample with me and letting me know that there's an opportunity involved with this. So don't hold back from sharing. And Leah has touched on so beautifully doing that in a really authentic, service-based way, and then it becomes way less scary. And it's actually fun. Like, how fun is it being able to share like little, you know, amazing plant-based stuff that's not going to have all these horrible side effects, and really make a significant difference in people's lives, even if it's just their kid actually going to sleep and not annoying them until 10 o'clock at night. That makes a difference. So
yeah, and that's actually what made me start doing the business in the first place, was because I was so excited about these oils, and I was just making roller blends for everybody and anybody that had anything wrong. So go back to that place of just being generous, and it all flows so naturally from there.
Yeah, love it. So thank you guys so much for coming on tonight. Hope you found this helpful. The replay will be on YouTube, so you can literally go to Jessie Reimers' YouTube channel and share the link with people directly if you have people that you want to share this with. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your tips with us, Leah. And thank you.